Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the hot new Feraligatr deck. New, old, I don't really know what you want to call it because this card has been around for a while, but as of lately it has been popping up, and once rotation hits, this deck I think is going to be insane. And I've got to say, this is one of the only decks that I currently actually have built right now for like post rotation. This is definitely the deck I'm going to be playing mostly at first. It does seem like there is a lot of potential for it, and I'm really excited to kind of see this archetype like actually get some play. It's a very unique kind of deck that has a lot of options. You know, on the surface level it doesn't really seem like it, but when you really take a look at how the deck is built, like there's a lot of options on how to win with this. And it's just a really fun deck in general. I've had a chance to play it like at one time so far at a league challenge. Obviously right now before rotation it's a little bit worse because of some of the things that are out there, but once rotation hits, like I said, I do think this will be one of the top decks. And of course, don't just take my word for it. This of course was the Champions League over in Japan, which happened a few weeks ago. We have Feraligatr winning the whole thing. Obviously there was only one in top 16, but had a very solid run. I was actually watching a lot of this tournament. I was very excited to see it, get some gameplay. I was really excited to see the trolley build because before this event I kept seeing Grand Tree builds, which in my opinion, I mean, I didn't really like it as much. I'm a big fan of Trolley. I played Trolley Charizard. That's a really fun deck in my opinion. I just like it for consistency purposes. So I was really excited to see that on the list. And overall, you just see a lot of interesting things in this top 16, which, you know, I can make a whole separate video about. But in general, we saw Feraligatr doing pretty good. We're seeing the rise of Milotic as well, and that is going to be in the deck as well. So a lot of interesting things to take away from that tournament. I'd say since then, we haven't really seen Feraligatr pop up as much in Japan. It is a deck where I've seen people kind of say like maybe it won't be as good now that people kind of know about it, because they can kind of counter certain things. They can prepare for Milotic, Mimikyu, things like that. And I do think with the new format, with these wall decks kind of becoming more popular, I do think that people are going to kind of be more prepared to counter that type of stuff. So I think this is going to be one of those decks kind of similar to Snorlax in a sense where, you know, it's kind of a good play or a bad play. You know, there's some tournaments where people, you know, are expecting Snorlax, so it doesn't really perform as well. And then, you know, every now and then people will kind of just like forget about it and Snorlax will just kind of take over a tournament. So I think it's going to be one of those kind of decks where if you're prepared for it, you can probably counter it, but if you're not, then you're just going to kind of auto lose. So in this video, I kind of want to just break down the deck in general, kind of explain how it works on the surface level, show a little bit of gameplay, and then just kind of give my thoughts on the overall deck for the meta. So I'll kind of give a brief overview here. I'm sure by now a lot of people kind of know how this deck works, but I'm sure there's also people that have never seen this before, so I'll kind of explain how it works in general. One of the biggest pieces of the deck, of course, is going to be Relicanth, as you see right here. This little ancient fish right here unlocks a lot of potential for you because of its ability Memory Dive, which allows you to use your pre-evolution's attacks. So that means with Feraligatr, you can attack with Croconaw, you can attack with Totodile's attacks, you can use all those different attacks. And those are actually going to be very important with this deck. And the reason for that is because with Feraligatr, this is a card that has an ability, Torrential Heart, which basically if you put 5 damage counters on yourself, all your attacks do 120 more damage. So that means if you attack with Giant Wave, you're actually doing 280 damage, which is a lot of damage when you think about it. That means if you decide to use Croconaw's attack, because you can with Relicanth, you're actually going to be doing 150, and you can use that effect to where you can switch to one of your benched Pokemon. Or if you decide to use Totodile's attack for typically 10 damage, you're actually going to be doing 130 if you use your ability, and it will lock your opponent in place. So basically you have the option to either do big damage, do, you know, less damage but swap out to another Pokemon, or do a little bit less damage than that and lock your opponent in place basically. So you have a lot of options here. You can lock stuff in place, you can switch out to something that they can't really attack, or you can just swing for big damage whenever you're ready for it. And all while you're doing this, you're going to have Munkidoris on your bench, which allowed you to kind of spread that extra damage. So let's say you have 2 Munkidoris set up on your bench, you do the 50 damage to yourself, you can move all that damage over to your opponent. Let's say you decide to, you know, not use your ability and you just want to lock your opponent in place. You can have a benched Feraligatr, have that Feraligatr do damage to itself, and still move that damage onto their bench. So really, if you're not prepared for this deck, you can just bring something up that can't attack. If they have no switches or any way to switch out, you can just lock it into place. You can set up a Feraligatr on your bench as well, and then you can basically just keep moving damage onto their side of the field, and if they have no way to get out of it, then they're basically just locked in the game. As far as the other Pokemon go, we do of course have Budew, which is used like it is in every deck, just kind of buy you some extra time. Obviously, you know, Feraligatr is a stage 2, so it takes a little bit of time to set up. This is honestly like when I first started playing Feraligatr, I wasn't using Budew, and now that I've like been testing with it, this is a really good option because there are times when you can't really like go for a TM evolution, which I'll talk about. So this is kind of like a good option if you're not really able to evolve, or like if you want to just slow your opponent down. Budew gives you a lot of, you know, extra potential, which I really enjoy. The last 3 Pokemon here, we do of course have Mimikyu that I mentioned. So this of course is a Pokemon that cannot be damaged by EX or V Pokemon. Obviously V Pokemon are rotating out, so basically any EXs cannot damage Mimikyu directly. Obviously with Pokemon like Dragapult that do, you know, 200 to the active, and you can place damage counters on the bench. If Mimikyu's on your bench, it can obviously, you know, be attacked by that, I guess. But if this is in your active spot, it cannot be hit by Pokemon EX. And of course, the last piece here is Milotic EX, another kind of wall Pokemon here with the ability Sparkling Scales. Prevent all damage from and effects of attacks of your opponent's Terra Pokemon done to this Pokemon. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know why reading that is so hard. Okay, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks from your opponent's Terra Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So yeah, it's kind of exactly what it says. Terra Pokemon cannot damage this Pokemon, so Charizard, you know, Dragapult, Ogerpon, all those Pokemon cannot damage Milotic. And obviously as the format rotates, we're saying goodbye to Pokemon like, you know, Lugia V-Star, you know, Regidrago V-Star, and we're kind of moving towards, you know, just EXs and Terra Pokemon in general. So I think at the start of the format, it's going to be a really, really good card here. It does have the attack Hypno Splash, which does cost 3 energy, so that can take a while to power up. If you do get it powered up, obviously you're going to be putting, you know, your opponent to sleep, and you'll be doing 160 damage. The good thing about Milotic, and this is important here, is going to be the Feebas actually. So the Feebas that came out with that Milotic in the same set is not the one you want to use. You want to use the one here from Twilight Masquerade, and the reason is because it has the Flail attack, which does 10 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Now remember, with Relicanth, you can use pre-evolutions, you know, attacks. So basically, you have a 270 HP Pokemon. Let's say you have 200 damage on yourself, then you can use Flail and do 200 damage back. So this right here is a really good card. It lets you just attack for 1 energy, so you can power it up very quickly. If they do get some damage on the Milotic EX, it is pretty tanky. And obviously, if they only have Terra Pokemon, you know, they're going to be kind of slowly doing damage to it. So I do think it's a really good option to kind of do that damage back. And obviously with Milotic, it's not a Pokemon that you're going to bring to every matchup. You know, depending on what deck you're playing against, if they don't have Terra Pokemon, you're not going to use Milotic, so there's no point of bringing it. So that is a Pokemon where it's kind of like matchup dependent. I will say in the personal list that I've been using, that I'm going to be using in today's video, is basically this list right here from the Champions League. The only thing I swapped out was I added a second Relicanth, and I added a 4th Totodile, and I removed 1 Feebas, and I removed 1 Milotic. So I have a 1-1 line of that in exchange for kind of more consistency, just because I think Relicanth is so important. We're losing Hisui and Heavy Ball, obviously, so we have no way to get it out of the prize cards if it were to be prized. So I'd rather kind of add 2 of those, and then just another Totodile for consistency to just kind of like get that out turn 1. You do have a lot of ways to get Pokemon out, but hey, sometimes you still kind of brick, and I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. So I did add that extra consistency in there. Now, as far as all the other cards go, we got 4 Arven, you know, pretty cut and dry. You typically want to go second with this deck, I would say. That way you can kind of go turn 1 Arven, get your Precious Trolley out, get the TM Evo out. You know, if you kind of miss on that, you want to get the Budew out and just start hitting with Itchy Pollen. So you do typically want to go second, I would say. But you do have the Arven for that, obviously 4 of those. You have the 4 Ionos, which can be really good for hand disruption. 2 Professor's Research, because like I said, sometimes this deck does brick, so that helps with that, obviously. The Lana's Aid is a really good card that I feel like hasn't gotten a lot of play. This is a card that allows you to put up to 3 combination of Pokemon that don't have a rule box and basic energies from your discard into your hand. And so obviously, when we have pretty much all Pokemon that are not rule box Pokemon, with the exception of Milotic, you know, it's a really good card to kind of get your Feraligatrs back, your Croconaws, your energies, things like that. We got the 1-of Crispin. I kind of wish we had another one in here, but the 1-of does definitely come in clutch whenever you do find it. The 4 Pokégears, obviously, to find the supporters, because pretty much every turn you're going to be needing to play a supporter. We do have the counter catchers and no boss's orders, which I was kind of like about, but you typically are going to be playing from behind. You know, once they take their first knockout, you need your counter catcher, you can Arven for it, and then you can start locking stuff into place, moving that damage with Munkidori, and kind of just getting set up. And that's what I really enjoy about this deck, is a lot of times you can kind of just lock something in the active spot until you're fully set up, and then by the time you're really fully set up, that's when you can start taking games. You can take, you know, multiple knockouts a turn with Munkidori, so it's a really nice combo. Night Stretcher, I honestly love this card. Like, this is such a good card. I feel like just being able to put anything back in your hand is really nice. Earthen Vessel, obviously really good with Arven, being able to get energy. That's one problem I do have sometimes. You just don't find the energy when you need it, so getting those energies is very important. And as you see here, the last 3 items right here, we have Buddy Poffin, we have Ultra Ball, and Precious Trolley. We're running one of each of those, which I completely understand. I kind of did the same thing when I was playing Charlie Charizard. I only ran like 1 or 2 Buddy Poffin because I was running Precious Trolley. And that's because, you know, whenever you do go for Arven, let's say it's turn 1, you're obviously going to want to get Precious Trolley to get set up. If you do prize Precious Trolley, your next best option is going to be a Buddy Poffin. And pretty much once you have that stuff out, you do have stuff like Artisan to get more basic Pokemon. So you really don't need more than one of with those. If you were to prize both your Buddy Poffin and your Precious Trolley, it's very unlikely, and obviously, you know, bad prizes happen at times, you know what I mean? So you might just have to hold the L, but I think it's just really good to be able to have Arven to search that out, and that's just going to help with consistency overall, to where you don't need to add like a bunch of Buddy Poffins to kind of make up for it. Precious Trolley just helps so much with consistency. Like, if you prize this, you know, it really hurts, I will say, but for me, like, I'll take my chances, you know what I mean? Like, 6 of my cards are gonna get prized every game, I'll take my chances, you know what I mean? When I played Precious Trolley at the regional with Charizard, I think I prized him maybe like 1 time. Obviously I got kind of lucky with that, but like I said, I'll take my chances. And yeah, like I said, we do play the 2 Artisan. We have the 4 basic water energy, 3 basic dark energy, 2 luminous energy, which is a really good card for this deck, allowing you to basically use any type of energy as long as there's no other special energy attached. So what that means is that can count as a dark energy for Munkidori, that can count as a water energy for Feraligatr, that can even count as a psychic energy for Munkidori if you already have a dark attached, and that can allow you to attack with that and confuse your opponent. That can be an option at times. So honestly, you know, really good card for this deck specifically. And then last up, we do have the tool cards. We have the TM Evolution to kind of allow you to evolve your Pokemon, the Luxurious Cape, which adds 100 HP to your Pokemon in exchange for them taking an extra prize card, and then of course the Rescue Board, which you'll typically want to put on your Mimikyu if you're using it in that matchup. So a lot of times you'll attach Rescue Board to Mimikyu, you go with Feraligatr, you'll use the reverse thrust, do damage, switch into Mimikyu, they can't hit it, and then next turn you just retreat and repeat basically. So Rescue Board is a very important card as well, and obviously with those tool cards you can search them all out with Arven. So Arven, very important card in this deck, probably going to be the best supporter for this deck. Like I said, this right here is the list from the Champions League, so I will have that in the description below. Like I said, my personal list that I'm using today, I did kind of switch up the counts a little bit. I got rid of 1 line of the Feebas and Milotic in exchange for the extra Relicanth and the extra Totodile, just for that extra consistency, and we'll kind of see how that pays off in today's video. Before I jump into some gameplay, if you guys have any questions, comments, or want to just talk about this deck in general, or just the upcoming rotation, let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you're excited to play in the next format. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Also, I would like to point out that this is going to be, I guess, pre-rotation gameplay. Like, rotation hasn't happened yet in PTCG Live, so obviously I don't know what I'm going to be playing against. So this might not be an accurate representation of what's to come, you know, after rotation, but we're going to try our best here. So I am going to go second, like I said. Typically want to go second with this deck. I feel like I don't really know if there's a situation where you want to go first. I can't really think of one, honestly. Okay, so here I'm gonna go, let's see, let's go Relicanth in the active, because I'm gonna want to evolve Totodile, so hopefully I can get a TM Evo out. They got the Flareon sleeves, so maybe this is like the Flareon Terra box kind of deck that I've been seeing a little bit of. I kind of forget what Flareon does though, not gonna lie. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. Okay, so this is a deck that actually is like kind of post rotation. I was playing earlier and I was playing against like Lugia, stuff like that, which obviously we're not gonna see anymore. I don't know, I'm very sad that we're losing Lost Box. That's like my go-to deck. I'm very, very sad about it. So I'm trying to find like what deck I'm gonna be using after rotation. And honestly, I've been having the most fun with Feraligatr. So for me, I think that's the route I'm going. But these like Terra box kind of style decks, those are kind of cool too. Got a chance to play those online a little bit. Noctowl though, really insane card, right? Okay, we're gonna have to go Pokégear here. I'm gonna try to thin this out just a little bit. I don't want to get rid of this Lana's aid, but I will. And let me think. Yeah, I'm gonna need a good supporter off of this Pokégear. Let's see what we get. Iono, okay, I'll take it. Let's see, what do we want to do here? I guess I could rescue board. It kind of depends on what I get off of this Iono, not gonna lie. I think I touch water energy, because if I touch rescue board and I get a TM Evo, then I can't use it. But I can still retreat with this water energy into Budew if I need to. Okay. Looks like that's the route we're gonna have to go, unfortunately, is Budew. And I have nothing else out on my bench. Kind of tough, okay. We'll go Itchy Pollen, I guess. My two options there were to like go for what I did, or I was gonna go rescue board and then attach a water energy and go to Totodile to kind of just lock that Noctowl, which probably would have been a better option. Yeah, they're going Crispin here. Probably gonna get the Eevee set up, I'm sure. Oh, okay. I only got one energy. I was like, what? Okay, Road Van. Going for the 70 damage. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, that's fine. I bought me an extra turn. I got the Croconaw out. Again, I'm going to kind of need a supporter here. But see, now we have the counter catcher. We have that live, so we can go Big Bites. I do have the Relicanth in play. Go counter catcher. Bring in the Noctowl. The problem is with Noctowl you can find anything basically, so that's kind of the problem here. I don't really want to use research, but I will if I need to. Yeah, I'm gonna research, okay. I mean, I guess that's not that bad. I think in this one I actually do want to get the Feebas set up. Let me just double check and make sure I have Milotic. I do. Okay, and then I think I'm also gonna want the Mimikyu for this matchup. Gonna be two nice options. I kind of want that second Munkidori as well. What do we do here? Do I need the Feebas? I mean, they kind of do the same thing for me here. I'm gonna hold off on the Feebas. That might be a mistake, but we'll see. And then we just have the Budew in the water. Okay. So we'll go ahead and Big Bite here. I think that second Munkidori is important. I don't know if this deck plays any switch cards. I would assume so, right? Like, I feel like, I don't know. I've always felt like uncomfortable not having any switches. Like, it just feels kind of weird, you know what I mean? Like, kind of just go into a matchup and just say, hey, like, I lose, you know? You know, there's obviously like Turo and things like that, but I just feel like having a switch card like can be very helpful. VX. It's like the one deck that I'm unfamiliar with. It's been crazy though. Like, I haven't had a chance to get any actual like prismatic evolution stuff. Like, I have not seen it anywhere in stores. It's crazy out there. Like, I feel like you just can't find Pokemon cards anymore. I went to a local like on, I think it was Sunday, and I got second place, and I got $15 store credit, but they had no Pokemon stuff, like, like at all. They were just completely sold out. So yeah, it was pretty bad. I think it's crazy. Like, card shops don't have anything Pokemon related anymore. Okay, so we have the Noctowl here. If they do have any kind of switch card, they would get it right now. Like, I'm pretty sure. Which they actually might not, now that I think about it, because they probably play like what, Latios, I'm assuming? Maybe. Okay, got the Flareon, got the Leafeon. I mean, this is fine, honestly. Like, not that bad. Oh, is it because he evolved? Did I get rid of that? Am I stupid? Hold up. How did he get out of that? Hold up. Is it because he evolved? That actually might be the case. Yeah, I think that's what happened. Okay. Let's see. What do we want to do here? This is honestly kind of fine. I just need to get this Feebas set up, I guess. I don't want to Iono here because they only have one card. Crispin is actually a card that will be good here. Yeah, we're gonna go Crispin here. That rescue boy would really come in clutch right now for me. Not gonna lie. Little 60 damage right there, Mimikyu. We got one card in hand. Surely it's not another Hoot Hoot, right? Or I mean, an Octow. I would hope not. Of course it is. Of course it is. Like, why would it not be? He's just gonna boss up the Croconaw. I already know. I mean, the good thing here is like, you don't need Feraligatr to lock stuff into place. That's a good thing, right? Because you could just hit with Totodile, like with Big Bite. So that's actually something that's really nice. He goes for the Feebas, interesting. Kind of surprised with that, not gonna lie. I'm actually very surprised at that. I can just knock out the Flareon here, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so we're gonna reverse thrust, obviously. We still have the Mimikyu, obviously, so that's nice. Got the Night Stretcher I can go for here. I'm gonna need that last Lana's aid. I don't know if it's prized or not. We're gonna need something here. Okay, I do have the counter catcher, which I don't really need right now. Honestly, with me knocking this out, he has no more EVs on the board, right? He can't hit for 280. So I think I just go Cape here. Could be a mistake, but we're gonna try it anyways. Go ahead and deal some damage here. Yeah, I'm gonna try to knock out the Hoot Hoot. I get the rest next turn. Okay, we got the Luminous Energy, the Artisan is gonna be nice to kind of bump the stadium. Hopefully no Noctows here, right? I'm hoping. Of course. And he can knock out my Mimikyu with Fan Roto, which I didn't think about. That's gonna be kind of tough here. This is honestly fine though, depending on what he gets here. Because I can just like counter catcher up the Leafeon, and I mean, I can just knock it out with Feraligatr. And I can move damage and knock out the Rotom Fan here, to where I'm down with just only one prize. It's got the Pheasantipity, of course. The Latias, of course. Honestly though, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna lock something into place, because I don't think he has any other way to switch out really. And now that he's benching all this, and this is what I'm saying, there's like multiple ways to win with this deck, you know? Like I could just go all offensive here and try to like, you know, go for that. But I can just also lock something into place. And with all these damaged Noctows, like, I basically just need to pick up the Fan Rotom and one knockout. Oh, he's got an EV too? Oh yeah, I can knock that out too. Yeah, he's like benching way too much stuff here. He does have the Hoot out, which is kind of annoying, but okay. We lost the counter catcher. Nice. I do have the rescue board and the Arven. Okay, yeah, we're chilling. We are chilling. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up the Latias here. So let's go Arven, counter catcher. Counter catcher the Latias. Torrential Heart. Let's go ahead and knock out this Eevee before it can evolve into anything. And I should win in 2 turns if he can't get out of the active spot. Got the Lana's Aid, which is going to come in clutch. I had a feeling it was priced, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, let me go ahead and attach that. And then go ahead and Big Bites. Oh, I actually win next turn if you can't retreat. Because I had 20 on the Fan Rotom, I forgot about that. So yeah, if he cannot retreat, then I win. And if he can, then I probably lose. That's kind of where we're sitting right now. I don't really know a way that he wins here though, unless he plays a Jet Energy, or if he has a switch. I mean, he's got the boss, which I kind of expected. He's hoping I don't have a way to retreat, but I do have the rescue board, so that's gonna be game. The rescue board, retreat, Gator, Torrential Heart. We're gonna go Munkidori. We're gonna go Munkidori. That'll give us a prize, and we get to close it out with Gator. Giant Wave. So yeah, as you can see, like I kind of mentioned, there's multiple ways to win with this deck, and I think just having that ability, that's what makes it so good. I feel like having that ability, like in a game, to where any point you can just kind of say, hey, I'm just gonna counter catch or something and lock it into place. You know what I mean? That's either gonna buy you time, that's gonna win you the game outright. You know, it's gonna do a lot for you, I feel like. So I feel like just having that ability to lock stuff in place is just very helpful. You can lock somebody into place, you can Iono them down to 2 cards, and then use reverse thrust into something they can't hit. There's just a lot of really good options, I feel like, with this deck, and that's why I enjoy it so much. I think it's a really fun deck. It's very unique. There's not a lot of decks like it right now. Really, there's nothing like it, I would say. It's like a hit and run kind of deck. It's just it's a really fun deck. I gotta say. Well, that's gonna be the gameplay for Feraligatr. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, if you have any questions about this deck or you want to talk about the upcoming rotation, go ahead and let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. Let me know what other decks you're kind of interested in too. I know we're getting a lot of new decks and a lot of changes to current decks, so I would love to kind of cover those as well. And yeah, like I said, I think I'm definitely gonna start out with this deck. I'm losing Lost Box, which was my favorite deck, so I do need something new to play. And this is the deck that I've been enjoying the most. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all in the next one.